All right, stop the clock. We have a very exciting delivery that's just rocked up for two reasons. One, I'm excited because it's a new tool. And two, it's what we need to keep going with FLEXC. Let's unload it and see what it is. Okay, so what I've gone and got myself here is a Speedwerx, I believe it's an electric hydraulic bender. Something that we're definitely gonna need for this. We're gonna make bull bar, we're gonna make a roll cage, we're gonna make arms for suspension, and not only this build, a ton of builds in the future, we'll be using this thing. And Speedwerx have been legends. We're gonna give one of these away. So we're gonna set it up now, show you how it works, or work out how it works. I gotta learn this thing. And then you can win one of these. So I'll let you know later in the episode how that can happen. But for now, let's set it up and see how it works. Okay, it's all set up. It comes with a little inclinometer here, which is good for when you already have a bend, but then you want to rotate it up on a certain angle. We'll get that going, just gonna whack some batteries in there. Little protractor here, idiot proof, but it also has one on the machine as well. I just got to add in, it's like a little needle thing to show exactly the angle you are. I've got a couple of different dies. So one's like I think it's like a 48mm OD, and then this one's smaller, maybe like a 30 something. Anyway, but they're the two main sizes. The tube we're using for what we're doing on the XC is the 48. So I've got a little bit of scrap here, and I'm just gonna try it. So I basically put in the die, and it'll go right the way around to like a full 180 bend. So we're pretty much only gonna do 90s and a few different, like some 60s or whatever. But we'll see how far it goes. The best thing about this is it does a mandrel bend. So if you've ever used like one of those benders with a little press, it leaves dents in it and it kind of squishes the tube. This does a full mandrel bend, so you'll see it won't have any kinks in it. Just gives it a nice round bend. So, that easy. This is why I need to bolt it down. So it's basically pumping hydraulic fluid in, gives it a nice bend, and you follow it around till it's at the diameter you want. Look at the thickness of this stuff as well. Like, it's bending that without any effort. Alrighty, first mission with the bender. We're gonna start simple. We're not gonna go full ham and make a bloody roll cage off the bat. But in here, I basically wanna make a couple of bars that come up and down to there, come up from here and down to there to pretty much mount some tabs for the fuel cell, and then also a couple of NOS bottles in there. So we're gonna try that now. It's only a short little run, a couple of bends, just to sort of test the waters, get used to the machine, and then we can start making this roll cage. Okay, now that we've got the bender set up and pretty much working, I need a little bit more practice with it. There is a lot of measuring different techniques to get that right, but I'm gonna do that off camera and I'm gonna dive straight into what we bought the bender for, and that is a roll cage. Okay, so there's a couple of reasons why I wanna put a cage in here. The first thing, if I put a seat in here, I wanna be able to mount a couple of seat belts from the bar behind. Two is obviously safety as well. And three, it kind of gives it that racing look and also something to attach things to. Now I've already had to play with the bender in the back, and for example, these tubes are gonna hold the NOS bottles and the fuel cell in between there. So I've been down to AJ Steel and got some 50mm or 48mm OD tube. Let's start bending it out. All right, that was fucking easy. Oh my God, I can't believe I haven't had one of those benders earlier. Anyway, I've knocked up both the sides now. I did one off camera. They pretty much got the same bends, but they twist a different way at the end here. So I'm gonna basically sit them in. I've extended the ends a little bit, so there's 100mm or so on the end, so you can always cut that back and make it fit perfectly. But first see if the bends fit, and then trim the ends, and we should be pretty much started. Then start doing cross braces, roll cage done. Okay, I really need a wider lens for in here. But anyway, we've pretty much tacked up some of the main bars for this roll cage. What I want to do next is a couple of crossbars. Now, the big thing with this, from Speedwerx, I got one of their notches. Now, this is where you can use the protractor, get the right angle, and then you can notch it so that the bloody, what's it called? Tube will fit perfectly against the rail. So, put in the crossbar now, one piece will go directly across, and then the other two will obviously have to weld in the middle. So I'm gonna probably have to grab 2 hands to get this sorted, cut them out, weld them in, see how it looks.
While Sam's making the roll cage, I'm finishing off the back part of the roll cage, and I'm basically making little plates that we can weld the bar work of the cage onto the car. So we've got to bend them to make them fit on the rear where that fuel tank was.
Okay, flashback to Monique pulling the fuel tank out.
Okay, I'm gonna take the fuel tank out. It's got the quick release, so you just, you don't have to fuck around with a spare tire, you just take it out.
We definitely can't be using that for fuel. The thing was rusted to the shit out. So I went to Raceworks and got a fuel cell. So I'm gonna whack this in the back of the chassis here. Now I thought about mounting it from the body, but the height that this sits, it pretty much will come through the boot anyway where we want it. So I'm gonna mount it to here. It's a lot more sturdy. I've only gone for a small, I think this is like a 35 litre fuel cell, because it doesn't need to run that long. It's not a car that we're driving around the street. It just needs to go wherever I take it for a few minutes. So I'm gonna get some bars. I've already cut one up here, chop up another bit of bar, basically weld them across here, drill some holes for it to mount to. And that's pretty much fuel tank mounted, super easy. And then it's just a case of plumbing it up with a heap of AN fittings when we get to it. Alrighty, I've mounted the fuel cell and I've gone ahead and done some of the Raceworks fittings too, so that's gonna plumb it up. I'm not gonna go too far with that because this is the first time I've done a motor that's not fuel injected, so the pump's a lot lower pressure. We're gonna probably run an external pump, still have a fuel filter there as well, but just the basics. I've put a blank on one side, we've got a rollover valve on the top here, and got the tank mounted, so that's the main thing there. Bloody workshop's been taken over again. Fun fact actually, this is Michael's car that our sliders are getting built for, and Michael's not here. Where is Michael? The bloody Speedwerx Bender's getting a workout. So actually by the time you're seeing this, it may be out. So this is for Bridget's episode where the girls drive our cars, and Michael was that bloody terrified of Taylor driving his car. He's literally building sliders 2 days before we film the episode. So that's what's happening in here. The cage is done. I kind of got carried away and we just got it all welded up without filming most of it. We got some of the start, but the cage is in there. It's looking good, which means the door can go on. So Monique's whacked that door on, do some more bodywork, finish off this side. This time we have a blade for the actual saw, so we should be able to cut that out way easier than last time. Rear bars are going in, so this is where that fuel cell will sit in there. A couple of NOS bottles on top. And body's looking good after that. Then it's just waiting on the engine so we can put that together, drop the motor in and start making up some mounts. Okay, with some camera trickery, it's almost pretty much done in here. We've painted the roll cage in a matte finish, and it's gone in and basically given the whole floor a coating as well. Similar we've done with the front, just for now to kind of protect it. and seal up any rust that was in there. So it's really cleaned it up quite good. I have a plan, some pretty sweet idea to do with the roof. Now the sides, you're gonna have to wait for. We're gonna be painting those door cards. I'm gonna leave the body for now because that's pretty much traveling nicely. I'm gonna go back to the chassis. What I'm doing here is mounting some shock towers. Now there's a bit of maths involved with this. There is a website you can use, but to be honest, I literally do not have enough information. The main thing is the weight. I can't work out how much this thing's gonna weigh because I don't know what's gonna be on it essentially. So I've guessed as much as I can. What I've done is put a couple of hoops on the back here for the shocks. Now, the adjustment I do have is what's on the coilovers themselves, but I can also change the angle of this to give it a bit more adjustment. So I'm gonna go ahead and weld it square for now, and then once we've got the body on there and start adding weight and stuff, things will change the sag and we can fix the right height basically after that. It's a guessing game, tack what we can, and I'll probably 100% will have to change it later, but we need to move on because I do need to get this thing sitting on the shocks so I can roll it out, get the body in here onto the hoist so I can start dropping that on and working out body mounts. So we'll weld these up and pretty much finishes off the back end. Alrighty, so the front end I haven't fully done. It's pretty much just mocked up because I'm waiting on a CNC plasma cutter coming, which I spoke about earlier. So put in a couple of bars here just to mock it up and get it out of here. I actually haven't spoken about the shocks and coilovers that I've actually got. So I got these from Superior Engineering. They are Pro Fenders, so we've got 16-inch coilovers, and then I've gone for triple bypass. So on each corner there'll be 2 sets. So in total, there's actually 8 shocks, coilovers in combination. So it's just there for looks. It's not actually there for purpose. To be honest, there was one build in the US that had this set up, and they actually degassed and fully ripped out all the valving of the coilover. So that did nothing. It didn't act like a shock and did all the shock work with the triple bypass. I'm gonna leave mine for now because I think having that stiffness will help with body roll. But if it is too stiff, we can always do that and drop the gas out of it. So the next thing is to basically mount up these housings to do the front shocks. But now it's off the hoist for the first time in like a year. It's finally off the hoist because we're gonna roll it forward and get that body rolled in here, and we can drop it on and start working out clearances and stuff. So that's the next thing. Once the body's on, it'll look a bit more like a car as well. Right, well, it's finally time to move this puppy out of here. So the plan is to get it up onto a table where we can roll it around and then wheel it into the hoist area so we can pick it up off the table, get it up, then roll the chassis under it just to work out clearances and that, and then work out what we've got to move. That's enough. Yeah, baby, she's in the air. Alrighty, we're probably gonna leave it there because I don't want to give too much away for the next episode where we start making this body match with the chassis. So there's a lot of interference fits we've got to sort out, body mounts, we've got to cut a lot of this K-member off and the old engine mounts, all that kind of stuff. So we'll see you next week. Make sure to hit subscribe if you want to enjoy this XC build called the FLEXC, and we'll see you next week.